many years ago, the bold Charles and I were asked to do the draw.
I was going to ask you about that.
For the Scottish League Cup, and they introduced a new way of doing it where it was like not turn around, it was like a draw and then you do two, then you came back again. And I always remember we did the draw. Rangers got a very easy draw and Celtic got a very hard one, and the BBC switchboard was jammed with people phoning in, and the main thing was, why were these two orange bastards allowed to do the draw? And I always remember I was equity debt in the job I was doing at the time, and I had to phone up the office in Bath Street about memberships and stuff like that on the Monday, and the woman who answered it was somebody I'd known since I left drama college, and she was raging with me. She actually thought that we were doing sort of hot and cold balls and things like that.
I remember the dark days of the quill pen at the SFA when the draw was made in the council meetings at Park Gardens in Glasgow, and Ernie Walker was the secretary of the SFA, and he said it was a semi-final draw, Scottish Cup. He said, I think we'll make this clear. We'll add a couple of members of the press to make the draw. I would ask Mr. Chityoung of the Evening Times then. And I come up, there was a velvet bag with the wooden balls inside it, 4 wooden balls. And I put my hand in, or somebody pulled the purse one out. I think it was Ian Peebles. No, it wasn't Ian Peebles, Ian Paul. Anyway, what tangent. And Ian pulled that ball, and I went into the velvet bag to get that ball, and I went, oh, that's hot. And Ernie Walker gave me a look that I will never forget, and I was never asked again.
Withered by a glance.
There's Alan Ramsey, who works at the BBC, tells a story that they did for some reason it was in sports, and they recorded the draw, and when they did the draw, and they looked at it, and it was all, I think it was some like Aberdeen had drawn Dundee United.
And it was the early stages.
It was the early stages, and Alan says there was a pause, and then somebody said, the sponsor's standing there, and somebody goes, right, well, that's the rehearsal done. Let's do it for real this time. And they did it again. He said because it would have the draw would have been, half the good teams would have been out.
They did, and even in the World Cup draw, they do. I mean, I've been at a lot of these draws. They do a practice. The Champions League draw, they do a practice draw.
I to make sure all the balls are there, aren't they? I was going to say the balls are in the bag, but that's not.
That was another thing. Trying to follow that the other night was just ridiculous.
It was complicated, wasn't it? Aye.
Shambles.
I know the reason for it and all that, but no, it was atrocious. It was rubbish and everything else.
Forget the ball, get on with the game. Subscribe now, and remember, it costs you nothing.